The sky above the alien marketplace was dark and heavy, filled with smoke and strange lights. Creatures from many worlds walked under glowing signs, speaking in languages that echoed like metal. But one sound ruled the air that day, the auctioneer's voice. Sold, next item, a rare one, from the Forbidden Zone. People turned their heads. Even in this cruel market, that name brought silence. The Forbidden Zone was a place where no one dared to go. Dangerous, cursed. But now something or someone had come from there. A man stood in the crowd, wearing a long black coat and a hood. His face was hidden. He didn't look like he belonged here. He wasn't here to buy slaves. He was here for information. Or so he thought. Then he heard it, soft like a whisper inside his head. "Buy my chains, please. I will give you strong children." He turned sharply. No one had spoken, not out loud. But he had heard it, a voice desperate but calm. Strong, yet broken. On the auction stage stood a woman, not human. Not fully. Her skin shimmered like silver under the lights. Her eyes glowed a soft blue, and her long white hair touched the floor. Energy chains locked her wrists, ankles, and neck. She did not look weak. She looked like someone holding back something dangerous. "She's a hybrid," the auctioneer shouted. "Half from a dead race. Half ... we don't know what. No name, no owner. Sold with full rights. A bargain," people laughed. Some looked afraid. Others just walked away. But the man kept looking. She stared directly at him. "You can hear me," her voice said again. Not through sound, but thought. His heart beat faster. "What are you?" He thought back. She smiled. Not a happy smile, but a tired one. A smile of someone who had waited a long time. "I'm what they tried to destroy. You're what they fear will rise. Our child can end that fear." He felt cold. "I'm not here to save anyone," he said out loud, voice low. "But you're still here," she answered inside his mind. "That means something." He looked around. No one else seemed to hear her voice. No one cared. She was just another slave to them. The auctioneer grew bored. "No one? Fine, take her back. I'll buy her," the man said. The crowd turned. "Name your price," the auctioneer said. "Whatever it costs." Coins were exchanged. A mark was scanned. The chains buzzed and clicked, unlocking one by one. The woman fell to her knees. Not from weakness, but from habit. Years of being chained had trained her body to submit. The man stepped forward. He reached out a hand. She looked at it, confused, as if no one had ever offered kindness before. She took his hand. As they walked through the market, whispers followed them. "A fool. He'll be dead by morning. That one's cursed." But the man didn't care. They reached his ship, old, hidden behind broken junk. Inside it was clean, quiet. He gave her water. She didn't drink. Instead, she placed a hand on the wall of the ship. It lit up brighter than ever before. "You're connected to it?" he asked. "No, but our child will be." He frowned. "Stop saying that. There is no child." "I'm not. You don't understand," she said. Her voice was now real, soft, sad. "They made me to create the future, but I ran. I failed. Now I have one last chance." "Why me?" he asked. She looked at him with glowing eyes. "Because your blood carries the code. You were part of the old program. You just don't remember." His head hurt. A flash, a lab, a needle, a scream. He shook it off. "Who are you?" "My name is Sira," she said. "And I was born to break chains." He stared at her. She wasn't lying, but the truth was even worse. Outside, storm clouds gathered. Inside the ship, something began to change. The lights flickered. A hum filled the air, not from the engine, but from her. Sira looked at him one more time. "You can still walk away, but if you stay, we may not survive. Or we may change everything." He didn't move. because deep inside, he already knew this was not the end. This was the beginning. The ship moved silently through space, far away from the market. Stars blinked outside the window like eyes watching from the dark. He sat alone. In the cockpit. Sierra was behind him, silent for almost an hour. She hadn't asked where they were going. She hadn't touched the food. She just sat, eyes closed, like she was listening to something he couldn't hear. He looked back. "Are you sleeping?" "No," she said quietly. "I don't sleep much." "Not since they started hunting me." The man stayed quiet. Her voice had a strange calm. It made his skin crawl, not from fear, but from something deeper, something he didn't understand. "Who's hunting you?" he asked. She opened her eyes. "Everyone." Sierra finally stood up and walked slowly around the ship. Every panel she touched responded. Lights blinked. Systems hummed. "This ship remembers me," she whispered. "Or maybe it remembers something I carry." The man frowned. "What does that mean?" She turned to face him. "It means your ship is old. Older than you think. And it was once part of the project, the same project that made me." He stepped back. "What project?" Sierra raised her hand and pointed at his neck. "You have a scar, right here. You never wondered where it came from?" His fingers touched the spot. A small line, just under his skin. He had it since childhood. He was told it was from a fall. "You were a child when they tested you," Sierra said softly. "You don't remember, but your body does. They used your DNA and others like you to create something new. Me." She sat down now, finally sipping the water he had offered earlier. Her hands were shaking slightly. "I escaped the lab," she continued. "Others didn't. The rest of my kind were destroyed. I've been running ever since." "Waiting. Hiding?" he asked. "Waiting for what?" She looked up. Her glowing eyes held something, sadness maybe. "Or guilt. For someone like you. A carrier, a match." The words hit him like cold air. "I'm not part of any experiment," he said sharply. "I grew up on Earth, a real place, with real parents." She nodded. "They were real. But your past isn't what you think. Most of your early memories were rewritten." He stared at her, unsure whether to believe or leave. "How do you know all this?" he asked. Sierra reached into her thin cloak and pulled out a small silver cube. She placed it on the table. It flickered, then showed an image, a man in a lab. Coat, holding a child. The child had his face. "That's you," Sierra said. "Taken when you were 5. Earth was experimenting with hybrid technology. They wanted to create perfect soldiers. Strong, fast, intelligent. But something went wrong," he whispered. "What happened?" "They made me." The air in the ship felt heavy now. Truth hung like fog. The man sat down, slowly, watching the hollow image fade. "I wasn't made in the natural way," she said. "I was grown, designed, but I wasn't what they expected. I had empathy, emotion, that made me dangerous. So they locked me up." Sierra paused, then added, "But I was not their failure. I was their warning," he finally spoke. "So why come to the auction? Why let them chain you?" She looked straight at him. "Because I knew you would be there." His blood turned cold. "How could you know that?" "I saw it. In a dream. Or maybe in time itself. I don't know. But I knew." The ship suddenly beeped. "Warning. Incoming signal." The man ran to the controls. Encrypted message. Old Earth frequency. The screen turned on. A static-filled video played. A man in uniform, tired eyes, gray beard, looked directly into the camera. "If you're watching this, it means she found you. Sierra, we tried to stop her, but we were too late. She's not evil. But she is powerful. And if she bonds with a human host, the child that comes next will not be controllable." The screen glitched, then went dark. He turned toward her. Sierra stood completely still. "I told you," she said. "Our child will be strong, maybe too strong, but the galaxy has broken too many of us. It's time we break it back." The ship moved silently through space, far away from the market. Stars blinked outside the window like eyes watching from the dark. He sat alone in the cockpit. Sierra was behind him, silent for almost an hour. She hadn't asked where they were going. She hadn't touched the food. She just sat, eyes closed, like she was listening to something he couldn't hear. He looked back. "Are you sleeping?" "No," she said quietly. "I don't sleep much, not since they started hunting me." The man stayed quiet. Her voice had a strange calm. It made his skin crawl, not from fear, but from something deeper, something he didn't understand. "Who's hunting you?" he asked. She opened her eyes. "Everyone." Sierra finally stood up and walked slowly around the ship. Every panel she touched responded. Lights blinked, systems hummed. "This ship remembers me," she whispered. "Or maybe it remembers something I carry." The man frowned. "What does that mean?" She turned to face him. "It means your ship is old, older than you think. And it was once part of the project, the same project that made me." He stepped back. "What project?" Sierra raised her hand and pointed at his neck. "You have a scar, right here. You never wondered where it came from?" His fingers touched the spot. A small line, just under his skin. He had it since childhood. He was told it was from a fall. "You were a child when they tested you," Sierra said softly. "You don't remember, but your body does. They used your DNA and others like you to create something new. Me." She sat down now, finally sipping the water he had offered earlier. Her hands were shaking slightly. "I escaped the lab," she continued. "Others didn't. The rest of my kind were destroyed. I've been running ever since, waiting, hiding." He asked, "Waiting for what?" She looked up. Her glowing eyes held something, sadness maybe or guilt. "For someone like you, a carrier. A match." The words hit him like cold air. "I'm not part of any experiment," he said sharply. "I grew up on Earth, a real place, with real parents." She nodded. "They were real, but your past isn't what you think. Most of your early memories were ... rewritten." He stared at her, unsure whether to believe or leave. "How do you know all this?" he asked. Sierra reached into her thin cloak and pulled out a small silver cube. She placed it on the table. It flickered, then showed an image. A man in a lab coat holding a child. The child had his face. "That's you," Sierra said. "Taken when you were 5. Earth was experimenting with hybrid technology. They wanted to create perfect soldiers, strong, fast, intelligent. But something went wrong," he whispered. "What happened?" "They made me." The air in the ship felt heavy now. Truth hung like fog. The man sat down slowly, watching the hollow image fade. "I wasn't made in the natural way," she said. "I was grown, designed, but I wasn't what they expected. I had ... empathy, emotion, that made me dangerous, so they locked me up." Sierra paused, then added, "But I was not their failure. I was their warning," he finally spoke. "So why come to the auction? Why let them chain you?" She looked straight at him. "Because I knew you would be there." His blood turned cold. "How could you know that?" "I saw it, in a dream, or maybe in time itself, I don't know. But I knew." The ship suddenly beeped. "Warning, incoming signal." The man ran to the controls. Encrypted message. "Old Earth frequency." The screen turned on. A static filled. Video played. A man in uniform, tired eyes, gray beard, looked directly into the camera. "If you're watching this, it means she found you. Sierra, we tried to stop her, but we were too late. She's not evil. But she is powerful. And if she bonds with a human host, the child that comes next, will not be controllable. The screen glitched, then went dark. He turned toward her. Sierra stood completely still. I told you, she said, our child will be strong, maybe too strong, but the galaxy has broken too many of us. It's time we break it back. The stars outside the ship stayed the same, but inside, everything had changed. He couldn't sleep. Not after what he saw. A video warning him about Sierra. A message from someone who once ran secret Earth programs. A child being called a threat to the galaxy. And now that child might be his. Sierra sat quietly in the engine room, her back against the wall, eyes closed. She hadn't spoken since the message. She didn't have to. The silence between them said enough. He stared at her from the doorway. You knew about that message, didn't you? She opened her eyes slowly. Yes. Then, why bring me into this? Because you were always part of it. Hours later, the ship reached a hidden moon. Cold, lifeless. But deep underground was something more. A place Earth had buried and forgotten. Facility E-9. A broken lab. Rusted walls, dead lights, but behind one locked door was the truth. Man forced the door open with a code Sierra gave him. He didn't ask how she knew it. He didn't want to. Inside were black metal walls and old data cores stacked like tombstones. This was one of the first hybrid labs. She whispered. They tested early versions here. Some human, some alien, some both. He walked deeper. The air smelled like old blood and burned circuits. Sierra touched a control panel. It lit up. A hologram appeared. A scientist's voice echoed in the room. Day 77. Subject number 6 shows signs of empathy. Intelligence levels off charts. The child speaks in multiple languages after just 2 weeks. But the more we teach it, the more it asks why. Not how, not when. Always, why? Sierra looked away. That was me, she said. The man stared at the recording. The image was small, blurry. But he saw her. As a child, alone, in a glass room, they feared your mind. He said quietly. They feared I'd wake up others, she answered. They moved to another chamber. In the center was a cryopod, broken, glass shattered. Inside were wires and bloodstains. Sierra touched the edge. This pod was meant for me. They planned to freeze me and study me later. But I escaped before they could. He frowned. You've been running ever since? She nodded. And hiding one truth, she added. Your name was once on their list. He turned to her, shocked. My name? Sierra pulled out a dusty folder from an old drawer. Inside were files, photos, DNA charts, reports. One page had his childhood photo, a barcode, and a file name, hybrid pair match, subject 6, human code 91A clearance, red. He stepped back, heart pounding. They matched us? Yes, but you disappeared from the system. Someone erased your data and sent you to Earth with fake memories. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A siren wailed, motion detected, unauthorized presence. Sierra's eyes flashed. They found us. Who? The ones who never stopped watching. Doors slammed open. Black armored soldiers entered the hallway, not human. Not fully, their faces were covered. Their movements too perfect. Stay behind me, he said, pulling out a small plasma pistol. They won't shoot you, Sierra said. They need you. Alive. How do you know? She looked sad. Because they need your DNA to finish what they started, and if they can't, they'll try to take our child instead. A loud voice echoed from the speakers above. Surrender the female. Step away from the records. This is a Class 9 violation. You are trespassing on government property. The man looked at Sierra. Do we run? Sierra shook her head. Not this time. She stepped forward, raised her hand, and the metal around the doors bent like paper. Soldiers paused. One fired. The blast hit her shoulder, but instead of falling, she glowed not with pain. With power, she turned her eyes toward the squad. "I'm tired of running," she said. "Let them see what they tried to destroy." The man watched as the lab turned into chaos. Walls cracked. Lights exploded. Sira moved like a storm, graceful and deadly. One soldier grabbed the man, but he fought back, stronger than before. Too strong. The kind of strength that didn't feel normal. After the fight, they escaped into the underground tunnels. Breathing hard, covered in dust, he looked at her. "What are we?" she answered softly. "We are the future they fear. And the child we create will be more." The world outside was on fire, not with flames, but with warnings, orders, fear. Across 3 star systems, the alert spread like poison. Subject 6 has been located. Hybrid mail carrier confirmed. Initiate code black. All factions, engage. They were no longer fugitives. They were now the most wanted beings in the galaxy. In an abandoned mining ship, floating in deep space. They waited. Sira stood in the dark room, staring out a cracked window. Behind her, the man reloaded an old weapon. The last working one they had. He didn't speak. "Not yet." She finally broke the silence. "They won't stop until one of us dies. Maybe both." He walked closer. "You mean all of them?" She nodded. "Yes, humans, aliens, machines. All of them agreed to kill one thing, us." A soft light blinked on the wall. A signal. The man touched the screen. A message played, static-filled, broken, but clear. "To the hybrid pair, this is Dr. Wren. I helped hide you, both of you, long ago. But I can't protect you anymore. They know what's growing inside you. That child will rewrite the rules of life itself. You have 2 choices: run to the outer colonies, or stand and become what they fear." The message ended. Sira whispered, "He was the only one who believed I was more than a weapon." The man clenched his jaw. "Then let's prove him right." Later that night, if night even existed in space, the man sat alone in the engine bay. He looked at his hands. Something was changing. He was stronger, faster. He could see things half a second before they happened. Flashes, like stolen. Moments from the future. He hadn't told Sira, not yet, but she already knew. She walked in, holding a metal disc. "This is for you," she said. He took it. "What is it?" "A key. A memory. Your real name is inside it." He stared at it. "I don't care about who I was," he said. "Only what I become now." She looked at him, sad, proud, scared. "Then become a father who can protect what's coming." Suddenly, alarms blared. The ship shook. An explosion rocked the rear engines. They were under attack. Not just one ship. 3. One human, one alien, one drone fleet. Enemies who hated each other were now working together just to destroy them. The man grabbed Sira's hand. "No more running," he said. She squeezed his hand. "Then we break them together." The first attack came hard. A blast tore through the side wing. The man fired back with everything they had: old guns, hacked shields, engine flares. He moved with precision he didn't understand. He felt every shot before it came, dodged every trap before it triggered. Inside the control room, Sira knelt down. She placed both hands on her belly. Soft light glowed under her skin. The child inside was awake, not crying, not kicking, just listening, and learning. The alien ship broke formation. It came in close. Too close. The man looked at Sira. "I need more power, anything you can give me." She walked to him, placed her forehead against his. In that second, time slowed. He saw memories that weren't his. Sira's childhood, needles, cold labs, pain, escape, loneliness. Then, warmth. A spark, the moment they touched hands for the first time. "Now you have my strength," she said. And he did. His eyes turned silver. His mind opened wider. He controlled the ship with thought alone. Their ship spun, dodged, blasted through the enemy fleet like lightning and water. Explosions filled the stars. One by one, the enemies fell, but not without cost. The ship was breaking, systems offline. Hull cracked, air leaking. They made it to a dead moon and crash-landed, sliding across the black sand. Silence followed. The man coughed, blood. Sira was on her knees, but they were alive. Above them, the stars returned to calm. Sira looked up. They'll come again, stronger. The man stood. Then next time we won't just survive. We'll lead. Far away, deep in a military vault, leaders from all sides watched the battle footage. One of them leaned forward. The hybrid is awakening, he said. Another replied coldly, then we kill the child before it's born. The moon was silent. No stars moved. No wind howled. Just cracked ground, cold light, and two people breathing the heavy air of survival. But inside the ship, inside the man, something was breaking. Sira lay unconscious, her skin glowing faintly. The crash had taken most of their power. She hadn't spoken since. He sat beside her, staring at the glow beneath her ribs. The child was alive, still growing. Still silent, but the silence felt louder now, like it was watching him. Waiting. He stood up and walked into the ship's broken hallway. Smoke rose from wires. Sparks blinked from shattered panels. The place smelled like metal and memories. He found a cracked mirror near the engine room. And he looked, not just at his face. At what he was becoming. His eyes, once dark brown, now shimmered silver at the edges. His arms, bruised hours ago, were already healed. And his thoughts, faster, louder, deeper. He could remember things he'd never lived. Smell things before they happened. Hear whispers that weren't there. He wasn't fully human anymore. And he didn't know if that meant he was better or already lost. Behind him, a voice echoed, "You look like them now." He turned fast, ready to attack. But it was her, awake. Sira stood in the shadows, arms crossed, tired, pale, but alive. "You should rest," he said. She walked forward, slow but steady. "I did, and I dreamed." He swallowed. "What did you see?" She stopped just inches away. "I saw you leaving." May, silence. He didn't deny it, because somewhere inside, the fear was real. He was changing. And he didn't know if it was her power making him stronger, or if it was the child inside her pulling him into something else. He whispered, "I'm scared I'm not me anymore." Sira looked at him for a long time. "You are you. But also more. We both are. That's what they fear." He turned away. "I don't know who to trust." "Then trust the pain," she said. "It never lies." She walked past him and placed her hand on a hidden panel in the wall. A small drawer opened. Inside was an old device, a memory chip. "This belongs to you," she said. He took it. "What is it?" She looked down. "Proof of who tried to save you and who gave you away." Later, when she slept again, he plugged the chip into the ship's last working console. A video loaded. A lab room. A young boy, him, screaming in a glass chamber. Machines buzzing. Scientists writing notes. One figure stood beside the chamber, a man in uniform, face partly hidden. The voice on the recording said, "Transfer DN, a sample to Project Omega. Wipe the boy's memory. Give him to the Foster network. He's too stable to terminate." The screen paused. A file name appeared. Hybrid host, 910, parent clearance, council level. The man's face came into focus. It was someone he had seen before, years ago, on Earth. His foster father. He stepped back from the screen, breath shaking. Everything had been a lie. His life, his family, even his name. He walked back to Sira and sat beside her. She opened her eyes, already knowing. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't want you to see it that way." "Why didn't you tell me?" Because I wanted you to choose me, not the mission. A long pause, then he asked, is this still about freedom? Or revenge? Sierra looked into his silver glowing eyes. I thought they were the same, but maybe now, maybe it's about hope. He whispered, and if the child becomes like them? She touched his hand gently, then you teach it to be like you. Outside, on the edge of the crater, shadows moved. 3 figures. Watching, waiting. One of them spoke in a voice like glass breaking. The parents are bonded. The child is near, another replied. Prepare the null blade. We only get one strike. Inside the ship, the man kissed Sierra's forehead. He finally said the words she had waited to hear since the chains fell. I'm not leaving. The silence didn't last. It never did. At the edge of the crater, just beyond the crash site, a blade shimmered, one that didn't cut flesh or bone, but something deeper. Memory, identity, bloodline. They called it the null blade, and it was meant for the child. The man didn't sleep. He stood on top of the ship, watching the stars. His eyes, fully silver now, blinked less like a man's and more like something else, but inside he still felt like himself, almost. His thoughts were louder, faster. His heart beat in rhythms no human heart should, and his instincts whispered things he didn't want to hear. The first kill will change everything. Sierra came up behind him, her hair glowing slightly in the moonlight. The child inside her was growing fast. Too fast. She felt it kicking now, not out of pain, but curiosity, like it was already listening to the world, choosing its side. Something's coming, she said. He nodded. I know, 3 of them. I saw them before they moved. She raised an eyebrow. You're seeing the future again? He smiled faintly, more like hearing it breathe. A moment passed. Then he said, you should hide. Sierra looked offended. I'm not hiding. It's not about fear, he said. It's about focus. If they take you, they win. She paused, then slowly nodded. I'll stay close. But I'll let you be ... what they fear. The moment she stepped away, the ground cracked. They were here. 3 shadows, cloaked in cloaking tech, moving like whispers. One of them held the blade, a thin rod of black energy that made the air hum with pain. The first attacker didn't speak, just lunged. The man didn't dodge. He moved through, faster than the eye. The blade missed. His hand struck the attacker's helmet, shattering it like glass. A face beneath, machine and man fused together. No soul, just orders. He crushed the breathing mask. 1 down. The second came from behind, silent, knife drawn. But the man already saw it. He ducked, turned, grabbed the knife wrist and twisted. The soldier screamed, too human for mercy. The man dropped him. 2 down. The last one, the leader, activated the null blade. It glowed with red hunger. You don't understand, the assassin said. That thing inside her, it will rewrite the laws of life. It will erase species, end control. The man's voice was calm. Good, they charged. The null blade struck. His shoulder, burning through muscle, but he didn't fall. He didn't bleed. Instead, the wound sealed mid-cut. The assassin froze. What are you? The man whispered, the last mistake you'll ever make. He moved. No sound. No warning. Just a blur of silver and rage. When it ended, the blade fell to the dirt. Still buzzing. Still humming. But now alone. 3 enemies. All dead. Sierra walked back slowly. She had felt the fight, even from the cave below. She looked at him. His shirt was torn, his body marked, but no fear in his eyes, only clarity. You didn't just defend, she said. You hunted. He didn't answer. Instead, he walked to the fallen null blade. He picked it up. It didn't hurt him now. It shook in his hands like it feared being held. Can we use this? He asked. Sierra nodded. If we modify it, it could become a shield. He looked at her. No, he said. It will become our banner. Later that night, they lit a signal fire, the first in 1,000 years, on the moon once marked as dead. A flame the satellites would see. A challenge to every system still clinging to power. In distant corners of the galaxy, rebels began to stir. Old factions remembered legends of Subject 6, the silver-blooded girl who vanished, and now returned. With a partner and a child. In a secret chamber, deep inside a planet-sized fortress, the council watched the fire signal. "He's begun the war," one said. "No," another replied. "He's begun the correction." On the moon, the man stood tall, looking at the stars. He didn't feel like a rebel or a soldier or even human. He just felt ready. Sira took his hand, and the child inside her moved again, not like a kick this time, but like it was reaching forward, already choosing what kind of world it wanted to be born into. The child was coming, not with a scream, not with pain, but with light. In the cave beneath the burned-out sky, Sira lay still, her eyes wide open. The glow from her body pulsed like a heartbeat, like something ancient, not being born, but returning. Man knelt beside her. His hands trembled, not from fear, from something harder to face. Hope. Above them, war had started. The signal fire had done its job. It called them all, soldiers, machines, ghosts of governments. Ships circled the moon like wolves, weapons charged. Commands were screamed, but no one moved first. They were waiting for the child. The future. The thing they feared more than any army. Inside the cave, Sira whispered, "He's watching." The man blinked. "He?" Sira smiled faintly. "Yes, it's a boy. And he's already awake." Then the light exploded. Soft, silent, holy. It came from Sira's chest, her arms, her voice. She didn't scream. She sang, not a song of joy, not a lullaby, a warning made of energy, memory, and pain. And the man, he felt it too. A pull, a break, a burning clarity. For a moment, one terrible, beautiful second, he remembered everything. The lab. The lies, the chains placed on his mind. When he was just a boy, he had never been weak. They had only taught him to believe it. And now those thoughts cracked like glass. The child emerged, not from blood, but light and silence. His body was whole, but his eyes were older than stars. Silver, deep, watching. He didn't cry. He didn't blink. He just looked at the world. And the world looked back. Above, the warships began to shake. Weapons malfunctioned. Systems went blind. One by one, massive battleships shut down, drifting like dead metal in space. Pilots screamed. Soldiers panicked. The council begged their firewalls to hold. It was too late. The child wasn't attacking. He was just existing. And that was enough to break their machines. Outside the cave, the man carried his son into the light. His hands no longer shook. His body glowed like Sira once had. He wasn't just changed now, he was completed. And in that moment, standing between heaven and war, he understood. This was never about winning. This was about breaking the oldest lie, that power belongs only to the few. He looked up, spoke a single word into the sky. No. And all at once, the ships backed away, not because they were ordered, but because they understood. Something greater had been born. Not a weapon, not a god. A choice. Sira stood beside him now, tired but strong. She looked at the child, then at him. "What do we do now?" she asked. The man turned toward the horizon. Where the stars were slowly coming back, where the systems would soon rebuild, where fear would try to return. He looked down at his son, who finally blinked. "Once, we teach him to never wear chains. Not on his hands, not in his mind. And the others?" The man smiled. "We show them how to break theirs." In the distance, across stars and time, a legend began to grow, of a man and a woman, a child of light, and a war that ended, not with fire, but with one voice saying, "No more."